All right. Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Dean Regas. I'm the astronomer from the Cincinnati Observatory, where we have the historic telescopes there. I'll show you some pictures of those soon. But first off, I got to say, this is my first time to Stellafane, and I am very excited. I did not want to prepare much ahead of time. I didn't know what to expect, but some people told me it was the Woodstock of amateur astronomy. Does that seem right? So when does the mud pit start? When do we get into is that coming up soon? It's what I figured. So, I'm very excited to be here, and I pulled in, parked the car, and right away I see Dava Sobel. So that was great to see her. She's somewhere around here. I don't know where there she is, back in the back. So that was a good greeting. I had a good introduction to the place. But I'm also didn't get to see very much. So after the talk, anybody wants to show me around, I know where nothing is. I found where to park, and that's about it. But I'm very excited to be here. How's the weather looking tonight? Perfect conditions. All right, who's got the best scope here? Okay, right there. I got dibs. Well, thanks again for having me here. I'll introduce you to my little place, the Cincinnati Observatory. There it is, right there. This is a historic observatory about 5 miles east of downtown Cincinnati. This building dates back to 1873, but our pride and joy is the oldest big refractor in the Western Hemisphere. This was made in 1845, so first light April 14th, 1845, from Munich, Germany. So this is a Merz and Mahler scope, and we got it from Munich, 1843. They shipped over to Cincinnati, 1845. So we got ours 1 year before Harvard. Any Harvard people here? Sorry, ours is just a little older. So it's 11-inch refractor, gorgeous mahogany tube, 16 feet long. If you have not visited, you have to come see it. This is your open invitation. Just tell them Dean sent you. Come on over and see the telescope. I have a limited number of postcards of this telescope. So make a mad rush at the end. First 20 people get a postcard. How's that sound? And well, the guy with the best telescope, you get one, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. Now this is our older scope, but then we have our 16-inch Clark refractor. We call it the new one from 1904. So we have two scopes that are in great working order. Now, when I started at the observatory back in 2000, our main mission was education. We wanted to get out in the community. We wanted to get people to the telescopes to see these scopes because we got a lot of light pollution. There's no doubt about it. If we could see third magnitude stars, we consider it a good night. But we're also in a place where there's lots and lots of people that have never looked through a telescope before. And so we just said, well, all right, we're going to forget about looking at galaxies. We're going to forget about looking at nebulas. We're going to show people the moon and planets. And it has been amazing. It is amazing because so many people have never, ever looked through a telescope before. So now since we've been open, then other things start happening. Like, well, people know that we're there, and then they have their astronomy questions, such as, where are the aliens? When's the world going to end? Is that meteor going to hit us? Is the Mayan prediction of the end of the world happening? Did we ever go to the moon? Now, for some of you all, you probably heard these questions, right? This is the flip side of being in the public eye and doing public astronomy. You set up the telescope, and then you get the public questions. So how many of you have gotten conspiracy theory questions asked you at the eyepiece? Yes, I've taken almost all of them. And so I'm going to run through some of my favorites because I've decided that I'm not going to ignore them. I'm going to combat them, I'm going to fight them back, and I know it's not going to do any good. But I'm going to do it anyway because I feel like I have to. I can't live with myself if I don't fight back and try to say, wait, because for a lot of people, this is an entryway into astronomy. It is their appetizer. It is something that they know about, or at least they think they know about, and it's their way to get into it. So I've hopefully come up with some ideas of maybe if you're in that situation where you can kind of gently to not so gently nudge them in the proper direction. So I'm also an author of several books, including 100 Things to See in the Night Sky. So my background is observational astronomy. This is how you find constellations and stars and planets and that kind of stuff. And my new controversial book is How to Teach Grown-Ups About Pluto. This is a kid's book, an illustrated guide for kids to walk their grown-ups through the trauma of losing a planet. And I even have the 5 stages of grief in there that the adults will have to walk their way through. Now, I know that you all are a very educated group, and you have already gone to level 5 in acceptance, correct? No. If not, then we'll have to have a child read this book to you, and then you'll be fine afterwards. So then we'll talk. So as you can tell, I take this kind of a lighthearted approach, but I also kind of gauge what my audience is giving me. So when I see people giving me their conspiracy theories, my initial reaction is like, are you kidding me? I mean, but then the more rational part of me says, all right, wait, they're coming from a place that I don't know about. They're coming from a place of a different background, different upbringing. And so I want to be respectful, but I'm still going to hold my ground. And so I call this talk I Want to Believe because what I find is that if I have somebody comes to me with a conspiracy theory and I lay out the whole case of why that conspiracy theory is wrong, and at the end I didn't convince them whatsoever, and I got to the point that is like, there's people that want to believe so strongly in something that they can't be dissuaded. And a really good example is that somebody came to me with a theory about something that was obviously wrong. It was something like that Jupiter didn't really go around the sun, and I explained to him why I did, and then I said, you could go out and observe how Jupiter moves from night to night. And I said, all right, well, you're wrong. So this is the order of things. They call up the observatory with a theory to see if their theory is right. They're coming to me as an expert to validate their theory. When I don't validate their theory, what do they say? I'm wrong. And I'm just like, you called me. I didn't call you. I'm just sitting here minding my own business. You called me, and now you're saying I'm wrong? This is the theory that happens. So this is the cycle that happens. And so what I figured out is that people want to believe so strongly that we need to move on to a way to help them a little bit. And now, this is going to go back to an old TV show, but anybody fans of X-Files? I mean, I figured I'd have a pretty good crowd for that one. I mean, I'm not, so when I was watching the X-Files back in the 90s, Fox Mulder was the cool, he was the conspiracy theorist. He had all these great ideas, but now I look back at this show with a whole different idea, that he is a wacko. He really is. And he embodies the greatest attributes of the conspiracy theorist. He has inside info. He has anecdotal evidence. He has uncovered ancient evidence. By the way, have you all heard of this, that the ancients knew more about stuff than we did? Like the Mayans knew all sorts of stuff, and that's why they knew the world was going to end. And, yeah. I mean, there's a big thing. The ancients knew more than us about astronomy, which I think is kind of fun. He has controversial views, very important for a conspiracy theorist. You must have a nemesis. That strengthens your position quite a bit, so that's a good role for me. And thinks he knows better. I did put the pronoun he in here, but that's just, I don't know if that's right or not. But anyway, I'll just put that in there. Now, UFOs, oh shoot, I don't know if this will work. Will audio come through this? Yeah. All right, let's find out. Because UFOs are the big thing. Is that, have I ever seen a UFO? No. Flat out, no. Anything I've seen in the sky, I know what it is. If I don't know what it is, I look it up and I find out what it is. I've never seen anything unidentified or unidentifiable. And so there's a certain time of a cycle where UFO reports are more prominent than others. Let's see if we can hear Jesse Ventura tell us.
No other object has been misidentified as a flying saucer more often than the planet Venus.
That's in the X-Files. You know that, right? Definitely applaud that. I mean, this is the X-Files wrote this for us, amateur astronomers, because whenever you see Venus in the sky, don't you get the UFO reports? And maybe even sometimes you look at it and you're like, oh, what is that? That's so bright of an object. So every Venus season, we get the UFO reports. And so when the phone call rings, I am ready. When they start to say, I saw something in the sky, I was like, it's Venus. And that's it. Well, it's coming right at you, especially when you're driving in the car. It seems like it's following you around and everything like that. Now, the plus side on this is, and I try to say, that is amazing. You have seen a planet. Isn't that exciting? You found a planet. And most people are like, oh, I didn't know I could see a planet. I was like, how do you see a planet? And then go out the same time tomorrow night, you'll see it again. So this one usually has a happy ending because it's pretty easy. But then we want to get to some tougher ones. And I'm going to go back to an oldie but a goodie, mostly because this one gets all of the end of the world doomsday things out at one time. The 2012 doomsday end of the world. Now, if you've been doing astronomy for that long, nod your head if you remember this and people talking about the end of the world happening. Yes, yes. This was possibly the biggest Armageddon situation we've ever seen. This is the Mayan calendar that predicted the end of the world in 2012. We all know that's not what the Mayans said, but that's all right because this was what got hyped a lot. And so I show you a picture here. This was December 2012. This was the first picture that came up when you searched for 2012 on Google. Anybody see something wrong with this picture? You got Jupiter, you got, I don't know what that is. Then you got Saturn, then you got, I don't know what that is. They're not even in the right order. Come on. I mean, if you're going to make a graphic, at least put the planets in the proper order, don't you think? So there was this idea that a planetary alignment was going to happen and this would cause trouble. Never mind that there was no planetary alignment. This was the planetary alignment, December 21st, 2012. Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Saturn. Big deal. We had alignment like that. We had a better alignment than that earlier this year, just like a few weeks ago. So then I'm like, oh yeah, that was an alignment. Do y'all remember that May of 2002, where you had Sun, Moon, Mercury, Saturn, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter at the same time? And that was the day all those people got sucked off of the Earth by all the gravity. Do you remember that? No. That's a real planetary alignment. So that was obviously false. The other one was that the sun, Earth, and the black hole at the center of our galaxy were going to line up. And presumably this would happen. And the arrow falls in too. Followed up by this graphic. This is the alignment of the Earth, the black hole, Sagittarius A star, and it's 25 wavy lines away. Ooh, that's close. 25 wavy lines. Then you read the key, 25,000 light years. And so, yeah, that's going to really hurt us. And every year we kind of line up with this on December 21st, and every year nothing happens. But this was yet one of the things that was thrown out there. There was also the rogue planet Nibiru that was going to emerge out of the darkness that only comes around the sun every 30,000 years or so and then comes and interacts with the Earth and I guess creates lightning. I guess that's what that was. Never mind, Nibiru is not there. You can't see it because it wasn't there. Oh, by the way, there is this other common thing that astronomers hide information from people, that we see stuff coming and we don't share it. Well, yeah, not with them, right? but I said, I'm sorry, have you ever met an amateur astronomer? An amateur astronomer sees something. You are going to hear about it. In fact, if you go up and ask an amateur astronomer what's up in the sky, you may not be able to walk away for 8 hours because they will keep talking the entire time. Am I wrong or am I wrong? Amateur astronomers They want to get it out there. Professional astronomers, they want to get it out there because if they are first, they discover it. If they're second, they don't discover it. Exactly. So the idea that we could hide Nibiru and we're not going to tell anybody is ridiculous. So the other one is pole shift. And for the average conspiracy theorist, pole shift means this. Where the entire Earth will flip upside down, which would be bad, but is not what pole shift is, and it didn't happen and won't happen like that. They also thought there was an overactive sun. It turned out that 2012 was one of the quietest sun years. In fact, yeah, there was very little solar activity in 2012, but that didn't matter. There's the asteroid impact theory that something's going to hit us. Okay, I'll pause at this one because this does concern me slightly. That, an asteroid has hit the Earth in the past and created great devastation. There's extinction events throughout our history. This could happen again, but it's on that idea of the government sees it but won't tell us. And
That's why we need Bruce Willis.
well, exactly. I mean, I sure hope this comes when he's still alive, or else we're in big trouble. But so asteroid impacts, it is something we have to watch out for, and especially when you get stuff like this, and I don't think we need this audio for this one. So this happened in 2013. Luckily, this didn't happen on December 21st, 2012. But let's say you're driving to work in Russia, and then you see this. That's pretty terrifying. But as far as, and I've looked this up pretty up and down, I've not seen one person killed by space debris or asteroids in at least 1908. But even then, it's kind of questionable if anybody died. So this is not something you have to worry about on a day-to-day basis. But it is something I think we should think about. And this could be an opening to talking to people about what you would really do, why we're searching for these things, why there's this great search to find all these asteroids that are coming at us. But seeing that would have been really frightening, that's for sure. So I do remember that, this is, if only Mulder and this X-Files had dash cam footage, that would have been a lot better. If only had a phone that could take pictures. And I do have to say that since cell phone technology has gotten better, I've gotten fewer and fewer UFO pictures sent to me. Because anybody can get a phone out and take a picture of something pretty clearly. Even at nighttime, you get some pretty good shots. But I get fewer and fewer UFO pictures now because, they can see what it is they're looking at most of the time. Of course, there's the exception. And you all maybe have been following along with the Navy videos that have been released where they've had UFO hearings among Congress. And I have very strong opinions about this. I think those Navy videos are a smokescreen. Because they're obviously other aircraft, balloons, chemtrails, they're obviously explainable phenomenon. They always say, they're flying faster than the planes. I'm like, no, the planes that are taking the pictures of them are flying with them. So they're not going faster than the planes. And then they turn, because the camera turned. That's why they turned. And so those videos that they've released to the public are all explainable, all of them. So why are they so excited about this? Uh-oh. Oh, man, I got to compete with that. That is a government employee back there, isn't it? No doubt about it. Well, anyway, can you hear me okay still? I can talk louder. I have a microphone. Well, we'll find out. So the reason why I think that this is all a smokescreen is because everybody knows about Area 51, right? Area 51, the super secret place in the Nevada desert where they're doing things. That's a smokescreen also, because where is Area 1 through 50? Tell me that. That's where they're hiding the aliens. Anyway, as you can tell, I kind of joke about this. Well, you were probably wondering if I was going to get into this one. And that is the did we ever go to the moon theory. Luckily, I'm happy to say that this theory has gone down in prevalence. There's fewer people that think that we never landed on the moon, that's for sure. But it is still there, and I still get people kind of jokingly saying, oh yeah, well, we never went to the moon. Well, I think it's kind of funny because, I mean, sure, we have the footprints, we have the pictures, and the skeptics will say, well, they're all faked. Or they'll say, oh, well, the shadows are weird in this picture. Or there's no stars in the background in other pictures. Like, where's the stars in the background? Well, for anybody that's done photography, you know where the stars are. You can't get a picture of the bright foreground and the stars at the same time. So I usually tell people, okay, go ahead, take a picture of somebody with your flash on and the starry background and see if you can get some stars in your background. You're not going to do it. But what I like to point out is that the logic on the conspiracy theorists are backwards. They say that, oh, if this one picture is faked, that means we never went to the moon. And that logic is wrong. It is every picture must be faked. All of them. If we never went to the moon, you have to prove to me every picture is fake. And I have one that I'll show you. You can't prove me it's fake. This one. Hold on, they're coming. Oh, that's better.
William and the rover and you and Stone Mountain. And
this cannot be faked.
Come on out here and give me a salute. Big Navy salute. Off the ground, on the floor. There we go. Good.
How did they do that? How in the world did they do that? Watch me. I will jump when he jumps. We'll see. I will go up at the same speed he goes up, but I don't come down at the same time. Wires. Right. Wires. Slowing down the footage. All that stuff. Baloney. And the reason why I know it's baloney is because, well, we got to get somebody to listen to stuff, so I try to show them this. That was 1969. Well, we don't need the audio for this. This is the Brad Pitt movie Ad Astra. I don't know when this came out. 2017, 2018, something like that. There, they just came onto the moon. Look at them walking around. Amazing. A Brad Pitt movie, and they can't fake the gravity on the moon. Isn't that crazy? They get off the escalator and like, hey, yeah, this is the moon. Cool. All right, great. Isn't it amazing that all Star Wars and Star Trek movies go to planets where the gravity is the same? Like, hey, look, Captain Kirk. All right, awesome. Wait, what do they call those? Class M planets? Yeah, right. They all go to Class M planets. It's because M, they can't like fake it. That's why. When the movie The Martian came out with Matt Damon and he was going to live on Mars, I had my fingers crossed. I was like, surely, for a Matt Damon movie, they could simulate Mars gravity. They could not for Matt Damon. He's walking on Mars, farming potatoes. It's Earth gravity the whole time. I couldn't believe it. So you think they could fake it in 1969, and they can't fake it for Matt Damon and Brad Pitt? No, come on. It's not going to work. Not going to work. So if they still think it's wires, then I show them this one, which is okay too. This is how they're hopping along. And I say, okay, yeah, they're on wires. What about all the dust they're kicking up? They put wires on all the dust that's kicking up and going normal and following 1/6 gravity. Let's see, what else?
I was strolling on the moon one
Well, yeah, they're
day.
singing too. I mean, that's pretty good.
In a merry, merry month of December. Now, May, when much to my surprise, a pair of bunny eyes.
Looks pretty fun, doesn't it?
Do-do-do-do-do. Oh, is this a neat way to travel? Isn't it great? Dum-da-dum-dum-dum. 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 I like to skip along, but me, boy, skip.
Yep, all that dust. They put strings on every piece of dust there that fell back down. Every single one. You're exactly right. And then this one where they fall over. Every single time. I know they're tripping on the wires, but still, they didn't put wire on all the dust. And so show me a movie today where they do this. Show me a movie where they can simulate exactly this way, where they fall down and they can push themselves back up. Yeah, it's not fake. So there we go. So all you got to do is show them one piece of evidence, because they have to prove to you every one of them is fake. It's not the other way around. You got to turn it around on them. They have to prove it. I have one more. This one is Harrison Schmitt, who is notoriously klutzy in his spacesuit, and they were joking with him that when he got back into the lander, he shook off more dust from his suit than he collected during the whole time. But anyway. Okay, so now this one is also one that is not as prevalent as it used to be, but is still around, and that is, well, let me ask you guys something. What's the worst insult you could be called? Correct. The worst insult. Because people come up to me and they say, oh yeah, you work at the observatory? Oh, I love astrology. I'm like, yeah, so yeah. And then if they're coming to a talk, I say, I sense you're not going to like my talk. That's what I usually say. But no, astrology is the worst thing that you can call us. Now, I've given talks to astrology groups before, and they have a very fascinating relationship with us. They think the two of us are working together. They think that we are working in tandem, that we're making the discoveries, and that they're telling us what it means. When in reality, we want nothing to do with them whatsoever. Am I right? I mean, that's how I feel, at least. So astrology is something that I think is kind of fascinating, because the two of us were together for so long, but a big break happened in 150 AD. And that was when we came up with some different systems. Now, when I go to astrology websites, this is kind of the things that I see when people give testimonials to astrology. They say, oh yeah, they told me everything I already knew, basically. They reaffirmed everything that I wanted to know, which is, of course, what I get in trouble with when people call me to reaffirm their ideas. But it is fascinating that a good astrologer can tell you exactly what you already knew, what you already believed. So, for a brief synopsis on astrology is your sun sign. So you all probably know your sun signs. It's a lot of fun to do that. And your sun sign is what constellation was the sun in front of when you were born. And so I'm a Sagittarius because the sun was in front of the constellation Sagittarius when I was born. I also like to tell astrologers that I don't believe in astrology, but I'm a Sagittarius, so that's what I would say. So I think that's kind of funny. They don't get it. But anyway, so your sun sign is linked to that. But things have changed since 150 AD when they last updated their dates. The Earth is wobbling. We're doing something called precession, and you all probably know about this. Every 26,000 years, our whole Earth wobbles one time. And so since 150 AD, the dates have changed. So I have the modern dates. If you don't want to know, turn away now. On the left are the traditional astrological dates. On the right are the actual. And please, somebody yell out, but I don't want to be a Gemini. Please, somebody yell that out. A Leo. See? Yeah. See? You've been living your entire life a lie. Yeah, exactly. Your whole personality has changed. But of course, you don't want to believe this, so you don't have to if you don't want to. But so, as you see on the right, an added constellation. Who's our addition? Ophiuchus, because the sun technically goes through Ophiuchus for quite a few days. And so most of the Scorpios, by the way, Scorpios. Scorpiuses are really Ophiuchii. That doesn't sound right, but anyway, something like that. So that's where you get the added one in there. So, but most people don't like this, and astrologers mostly know about this, but don't care. They still use the old dates. And I can show them on Starry Night. I can show them on Stellarium. I put their birthdays in. I say, your sun sign is this. And they say, I don't care. I'm going to use the old dates. I'm like, why? Yeah. Is it working that well for you? That's what I should say. Is it really? But why? And so I'm just like, why wouldn't you change? Like, if you're going to be working with us, which we don't want to work with you, but if you were going to be working with us, at least come that far. I said, no, we don't want to. So they know about it, but they won't change it. And so one of the astrologers said something very intriguing to me. I will never forget this. He said, Dean, you just don't get it. Astrology isn't about the stars. And I said, what? Astrology is not about the stars. It's about the signs. So Sagittarius is not a constellation. It is a 30-degree section of the sky that may or may not have Sagittarius in it. And I was like, wait. Just say that one more time. Astrology is not about stars. And I'm going to raise my voice here. I apologize. But I said, what are you talking about? What are the first 5 letters of your field? Astro. That means stars. You cannot tell me it's not about stars. It's part of your name. Sorry, was that too loud? I should have had the porta potty stuff going on. I got very mad because stars are my thing. And so if you're going to besmirch stars with your thing, at least have the decency to use the right dates. He didn't have much of a comeback for that. But anyway, astrologers, they like to put up pictures, but they really don't care about stars. So this was one of my favorite things I've ever seen on the internet is accidents by zodiac birth sun signs. Allstate actually put this out on the internet. And it's suspicious, isn't it? Man, don't get in a car with a Virgo, apparently. So you all are seeing what's happening here, right? Most of the people that read this are like, wow, that's some crazy stuff that the Virgo, Leo, and Taurus have so much, and Scorpio. Oh wait, Ophiuchus. What's that doing in there? Yes, they correlated these to your astronomy signs, your astronomy constellations, not your astrology signs. So I did a little funny math. The sun is in Virgo for 45 days. Not 30 days, 45 days. Sun's in Scorpius, 6 days. So, you do a little math, and then everyone's about the same. How about that? That's interesting. Huh. So Virgos aren't the worst drivers. It looks like Cancers are. Uh-oh, watch out. That's still a little statistically weird, but everything else is pretty much the same.
Are we talking about the birth dates of the drivers or the cars?
Birth dates of the drivers. Yeah, well, that's the other way. Yeah, we need to do the moon sign of the cars. I think I would put that in there. That would do it. But I thought this was hilarious. Now, of course, Allstate got in huge trouble for this because people didn't do this little math thing, and they didn't add that little math thing to the trick. And so all of the Virgos, Leos, Tauruses, and Pisces got very mad because they said, is this why my rates are so high? Yeah. So they had to make a retraction to this. We're so sorry. We apologize. We didn't imply that we make our rates based on your sign, blah, blah, blah. But I thought this was hilarious and total fun. So now, This one I gotta talk about, and I hate that I have to talk about this. And I hate that I have to repeat this simple phrase, but it is a growing problem. It is a growing problem that more and more people are at least jokingly or ironically thinking that the earth may be flat. Whether they really believe it or don't believe it, more and more people are asking me, is the earth really round? I cannot believe it. I'm really scared for us that this is even a debate. But this is something that you may come across in your interactions with the public. So, by the way, there is one of my favorite jokes of cosmology jokes is that a cosmologist is talking to a group, and talks about the origins of the universe and the vastness of everything like that. And at the end, a person comes up to him and says, "Well, I don't believe anything about that. I believe the Earth rides on the back of a turtle." And the astronomer says, "Well, all right, what does the turtle stand on?" I'm like, "Another turtle." It's like, "Okay, what's under that turtle?" And they're like, "Oh, I see where this is going. Oh, you can't fool me, astronomy man. It's turtles all the way down." One of my favorite jokes of all time. Turtles all the way down. And so you're dealing with some superstitious things, but we did figure this out. And we did figure this out a long time ago. This isn't like Columbus sailing across to the New World. We figured it out. We figured this out in ancient Greece by viewing a lunar eclipse. And so they knew in ancient Greece that a lunar eclipse is the Earth casting a shadow on the moon. It's casting a round shadow. And they figured this out a surprisingly early amount in their time. They figured this out in 350 BC. Aristotle wrote about it. He said, "Yeah, the Earth's round. This is it. Go out, watch a lunar eclipse. You'll see what I'm talking about." So we figured this out a long time ago. And I'm going to run through some of the other things that you can tell them about, but it's not going to matter. So yeah, we do have the rounded shadow of the Earth. And the next lunar eclipse, is it November 8th or November 9th? Anybody remember? Both. Good. Okay, 8th, 9th. Yeah, I knew it was one of those. So there's also that idea of you can watch a boat come into harbor. And you can see the top of the boat before the bottom of the boat, and that's because it's coming around a rounded Earth. But for a landlocked people like Cincinnatians, this doesn't work on them too well. For you guys, it probably works a little bit better. There's also Claudius Ptolemy, who thought it was round, and he wrote a book called The Almagest in 150 AD. He said the Earth's round, sun goes around us. All right, well, he's wrong about half of it. I mean, you got the first part right, you got the second part wrong. And this shows we're willing to admit mistakes. When we make a mistake, we'll admit it. But when we get something right, we're going to keep it. So you can also measure the sun's angle from different times of day, different places on Earth. You can show there's time zones, that time zones won't work with a flat Earth. But this is really the big one, is that no flat earther can ever satisfyingly answer this question. And so if anybody ever hassles you about, is the Earth round or flat, just say it's round. My model shows where the Earth goes at night, or where the sun goes at night. Where does the sun go at night? When it goes down, where does it go? Swallowed by a turtle, right? Yeah. That's right. And this is the most simple thing that cannot be answered by a flat Earth model, because if the sun goes down below your flat Earth, it is night for everybody at the same time. There is no argument. There's no other way you could say this, that when it goes below the Earth, it's night for everybody. There's no other way to do it. And is that the case? No. They come up with this weird thing that the sun circles around over the flat Earth, and that we can only see it when it's like right above us. Which, yeah, they make a lampshade on the sun, and that so if you're on the outside where the lampshade is, then it's not getting the sun. Yeah, it's a full cutoff lamp. Yeah, exactly. So this is what we use. But that is not correct. When I see the sun go down, it's not going behind the shade, it's going behind the earth. There's nothing they can say to this. There's nothing. They say, go out and see a sunset. Please, go watch a sunset. Is the sun going down behind a shade or is it going down below the earth? Going below the earth? There you go. But I will say, flat earthers have to be the laziest bunch I've ever seen in my life. They will not go out and see a sunset. They'd rather read more stuff on the internet than go out and watch sunset. I've even, I had some interactions with some flat earthers, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I couldn't stop. And one flat earther I sent a daily good morning email to. Good morning. Here's another bit of information why the earth is round. Check out this website. You see it, it's really good. Oh, good morning. I just watched a sunset yesterday. You know, the sun went down below the earth. How about that? How'd that work? How's that work with your model? Good morning. I measured the angle of the North Star above my place in latitude. What's the angle of your place? And then I said, I will send you solar eclipse glasses. Go out and watch the sun. It's round, like almost everything else is. Their answer to all those things are fake, fake, fake. But yet they won't do something simple as go outside. So how do you combat that? It's almost impossible. Yeah, there's stars at different altitudes from different places on Earth. Doesn't work on that. There's gravity, by the way, this would be fun. This is a fun thought experiment. What would gravity be like if the Earth was flat? Gravity, the farther south you go, would be pulling you sideways. So objects would not fall straight down, they would fall towards the center of mass. So they'd fall diagonal, which would be interesting. So I say, go outside, drop a ball. Does it fall sideways? No. You're not on the North Pole, it should. It's kind of a fun thought. So the farther out you go, like the farther south you go, the more you go to Antarctica, the more you're walking uphill, and you could actually stand on the edge of Antarctica and look down on the Earth. It's kind of fun. Obviously, I'm joking. That's how it would be if the Earth was flat. All other planets we see in telescopes around, they always say that's fake. And I'm like, look through a telescope. And they're like, nah. So, yeah, that's fake. And they usually have comebacks. The comeback to this one being fake is, well, first off, sorry, as you can tell, I have a little bit of fun, maybe too much fun with this. The first comeback to this, showing people this picture, is say, oh, good Photoshop job. I can see where you cut and paste the Earth into this picture. And then I come back with, well, where did I get the picture to cut and paste in? They say, well, yeah, because the astronauts took it through round windows. I'm joking you not. I'm not joking. They said, yeah, because they took it through round windows. I was like, all right. There's the windows from the Apollo spacecraft. They're not round. They're like, yeah, but it's still fake. So you cannot provide enough information. Anything they say, you refute it, it doesn't matter. They're like that morphine thing you can't get a hold on. I even tried to appeal to their religiousness. As you may know, the Apollo 8 crew, they're the first crew that round the backside of the moon. War heroes, veterans, combat pilots, Christians, they read the book of Genesis. They were so moved by seeing the entire earth that they read from the book of Genesis, and NASA let them. And I say, do you think they're lying? They say, yeah, they're lying. Christians? And they're like, oh, yeah, those are fake Christians. I'm like, there's nothing. You cannot see anything to make them realize. Then I say, here's a picture the Russians took. So the Russian picture's fake? I'm like, yeah. Right. Because the Americans were really cozy with the Russians, and they put up a fake picture, and they're like, oh yeah, we let them go with the fake picture. And I like to joke, like, well yeah, they got this picture a few months before we were going to get our fake picture, so we let them have it. Yeah, it's not realistic. Some on the extreme side believe space itself is fake. That we've never gone into space, the rockets don't go anywhere, and that there are no satellites. And I'm like, I send people the date, the time to look up to see a satellite, they won't do it. But there are no satellites. Satellites aren't real. And it's really hard to combat this, even though I say, yeah, here's a picture of it. It's a picture I took. No. Where do planes fly? Well, they don't fly on that. There's no things dropping off the side of the earth. They say nobody can go to Antarctica, even though I've seen people go to Antarctica. They say that these are proof that the sun is not very far away, because the rays are coming from a sun that must just be right behind this cloud. To which I say, all right, so these train tracks meet somewhere, right? Yeah, never. They're parallel. They go off into infinity. It doesn't work that way. So I tried all these things. And I even wrote to this website, this Round Earth website, and I told them my dilemma. I said, I can't just let this stuff go. And the person wrote back to me and said, oh, Dean, you know you're never going to convince them. They're going to always have another argument. They're going to insult your intelligence. They're going to insult your upbringing. They're going to insult your family. And they did all those things. They said, I must be the stupid, most deluded person. How in the world could my parents have raised such a dummy? I got all these things. I couldn't believe it. And I still tried. So I had one last gasp. And that was, turn it back on them in the most absurd way. I said, you know, I like your skepticism. And I knew that this one person I was talking to was from the Northeast. And so I decided to throw a conspiracy at them. And that was, I don't believe he's real. I've never seen him in person. He's how old? 45 years old. Each year he gets better looking. How's that possible? Each year he gets better. He's married to a supermodel. He has a perfect family. I mean, he grew up in Michigan. Come on. And now he's gone to that far? And so I said, I mean, I've never met him. Have you met him? I think he's all fake. I think all the videos are fake. I think everything he does is fake. I think everything's fake. And unfortunately, that was the end of my interaction with this individual. They could not go with me on this. I went one step too far, and they wrote back, gave me one more last insult to my family, and then said, yeah, I don't think we should talk anymore. And I was like, oh, that's just too bad. When we were getting along. So my interactions with the flat earthers have not been positive, but I had to do it. And maybe just somewhere in that, I gave him something to think about. Just a little extra thing to think about. Because you could spout the facts back. You can do that. But I think it's good to give them questions right back. Say, well, explain how this would work. Where does the sun go at night? And if they think about it for any length of time, they could see, well, wait, there's holes in this flat thing. That's for sure. So that's kind of my take on this. And yeah, so there's also, this is from the Spherical Earth website. These are all the pluses behind a spherical Earth. These are all the things we can do based on this. We can send stuff into space too. Explains all these things. Tom Brady's real too. And then this is what a flat Earth can do. Cannot predict anything, cannot do this. Because that's what I say is like, so flat earthers, yeah, predict the next eclipse for us. Tell us when to look for it. Tell us when the sun will set. That'd be fun. That'd be fun what they come with. They can't predict anything. So the list of accomplishments of flat earthers are pretty thin. So yeah, it's a tough, yeah, they can't answer that. I mean, I can answer that at least, so I can't answer that one. So I have a new hero from the TV show. where I used to think Fox Mulder was my hero as the conspiracy theorist chasing down the truth. But now I'm like Skinner. I'm like, oh, Mulder. I basically feel like Mulder's boss when I hear the conspiracy theories. And I think, oh my gosh, this is going to be a rough season, that's for sure. And so definitely, you got to end with this, that the truth is out there. But thank you all very much for having me here for this. Thank you. So as you can tell, I take these things a little lightly. I also have found that conspiracy theorists don't have nearly as much fun as we do. Haven't you noticed that? Don't we have a lot of fun with the truth? We are welcoming the truth. And that's what I say is like, we are a jolly bunch. We have a lot of fun. It's not so fun being skeptical. I don't know. So anyway, do I have time for a few questions? Let's see. I saw. Yeah, you were standing up. Yeah, you. Yes.
Two observations. First of all, your Earthrise from the moon is 90 degrees rotated. It should be to the right and more to the left.
So it's already doctored. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Number two, in the first chapter of the prophet Ezekiel, what is he describing?
First chapter in the prophet Ezekiel. What's he describing? I don't know that one off the top of my head. What is it? Tell me. I'm dying to know.
I want you to read it. You tell me what he's describing. It came out of the northeast, and he describes it as some vehicle from above the sky.
Does he give an altitude and azimuth? I'll check it out. I do have a whole bunch of slides about the Star of Bethlehem, but I skipped those over for you guys today. I can do that later if you want to talk. I have a whole theory on the Star of Bethlehem.
After you've read Ezekiel, go to the Mahabharata in the Vedic literature of India and explain to me what they're describing there in terms of sounding like an atom bomb.
Sounds good. I'll check it out. I'm always happy to read the old texts. I've also seen that those texts are great to show you how to go to heaven, but not how the heavens go. That's generally my experience with those, is that they're not written as scientific texts. So it doesn't help us as in astronomy today very often. But I will read that one. Other questions? Yeah.
So you had the bit on Spherical Earth and Flat Earth. There's a phenomenal book that I recommend everybody by Martin Gardner, who was the mathematician who studied working, and it's called Fads and Fallacies of Modern Science. And he basically explores in chapter after chapter all of these crackpot theories. But one that struck me amazingly, and I actually went out, the guy's long gone, bought his book, Phantom of the Poles, from Sims. And his theory was that in fact the Earth was spherical, except it's hollow, and we are living on the inside, and the sun's at the center.
Yes, this is, I believe it's John Cleve Sims, a Cincinnatian. We have a lot of places in Cincinnati named after Sims. He was an early pioneer. Yeah, he believed in the hollow earth theory. Yeah, that is correct. That we are in a hollow earth, we are on the inside, and we're looking at the sun is looking in to the center. And that if we went to the poles, we would see these openings into the center. And if you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, and you visit the nearby town of Hamilton, there is a monument to his belief with a hollowed earth sphere. It's on Atlas Obscura. Check it out. He proved his theory?
He invented a device called the rectilineator. He brought it to the cricket, and he showed that if you project a straight line far enough, it always hits the ocean, because it's sloping up.
Oh, the ocean's sloping up. Okay, so he didn't see the boats coming in, so he would see. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yes, back there.
I would like to defend the people who refuse to change their mind. My daughter gave me a gift as a book, and it was written by the head of the mechanical engineering department at Princeton University. And as I began to read it, I realized that he was talking about telekinesis, which is moving objects with your mind. And as I read it, I got not a crackpot. This was the chairman of the mechanical engineering department. I'm sorry, I forgot the title or the name of the guy. But he had things like he had a bunch of ping pong balls that would be covered glassware with a bunch of nails. And normally they'd go down in the gallons for distribution. But he asked the graduates to sit there very carefully and think about moving the balls to the left. And there was a small difference. A statistically relevant amount of the balls went slightly to the left. And then just to make sure, he said to the same guy, make them go to the right this time. And he could do that. And meanwhile, I was feeling really sick. I always told my daughters, if anybody showed me some crazy thing, and there was some proof of it, I would change my mind immediately. And so here I was, trying to do this. And he had more and more experiments with electronics, people watching it. I got more and more sick. My basic understanding of the world was getting torn apart by this guy. And it just went on for a long time until some guy told me, oh yeah, that guy was fired.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've gone from it's in a book, so it must be true, to now it's on the internet, it must be true, or at least some parts of it must be true. And it is a tough thing to combat how much misinformation is out there. And there's enough astronomy information out there for people to be dangerous or think they're dangerous. They think they know some certain things because they read it somewhere. Yeah, that book moved you, didn't it? So yeah, it worked. Excellent, excellent. Thank you for that example. Yes?
Anybody who owns cats knows that if the Earth was flat, cats would have knocked everything off.
Oh yeah, that's one of the best ones. Yeah, if the Earth was flat, cats would have knocked it all off the side there. There's no doubt about that. That's one of my other favorite jokes about the flat earthers. Up there, yeah.
So, one of my favorite counter examples for the flat Earth people is the belt of Venus, which is really difficult to explain without anything else, opposite the sunset. Not because I think it will actually convince them, but just because I think everyone needs to see the belt of Venus as often as possible.
I like it, yeah, because I should add that to my list of the other things, because, yeah, you're seeing the shadow of the Earth projected out onto the atmosphere. It's a great thing. It's an easy thing for people to see. Yeah, I think I'll add that to the list. I think that's a great idea. And so if anything, I mean, I raised my voice for a little while. I'm joking for a while, but I think the essential thing is that you want to encourage your audience to get out there and see more of the actual sky. Get out away from that computer and get out into the real sky. And this may be big trouble, but I'm inviting them to come to your clubs. So you're like, thanks, Dean, for inviting these people to our clubs. So you're welcome, maybe? I don't know. How are we doing? Do I have another minute? I think we're probably out. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. I'll be around the rest of the weekend, so come share your conspiracy theories with me. Thank you all so much. And I have a few postcards up here from the observatory if you'd like to check them out. But thank you all.